Welcome to the first edition of the Show Me Amazing Teachers podcast. This is my first episode with this podcast. We run a sister podcast called Show Me Hoops. I run that podcast with my brother Toby. He is the head basketball coach, and he's a teacher at North Pemiscot High School, which is located in southeast Missouri. I've been a teacher for several years. My name's David Heeb. I'm the superintendent at Prairie Home R5 School District, a small school district in the central part of Missouri. And Toby and I have been talking back and forth. We run a show for basketball coaches, and we wanted to do something for teachers, and just to try to spread the word, positive vibes and everything. And all of this comes from the website Just Win Today that I run, where we try to do a lot of positive things and share positive ideas and quotes and good stories, just kind of feel good things. Just to give you a little background about where all of that came from, and then we'll dive into some of the teaching things here. I was in a near fatal car wreck on August the 1st, 2015. I got hit by a drunk driver. I got hit by a guy that was going 126 miles an hour. He jumped the median, hit me head on. It was a terrible car wreck. It killed the man and woman in the other car. I was very lucky to survive, and thank God I've made a full recovery. So that's kind of part of the thinking behind my Just Win Today mentality is, today is the only promise we have. If yesterday was a terrible day, you can't change it. If yesterday was the best day of your life, you can't relive it. And no matter what's coming tomorrow, good, bad, or whatever, worrying about tomorrow is not going to make it better, and sitting here anticipating tomorrow and kind of wishing today away is just a waste of time. So it's kind of like living the moment, focus on what's right in front of you. So that's kind of part of it. When I was going through my car wreck, I was in the hospital by myself, and I was in there for a long time. And so I know a lot of texts and phone calls and emails and messages on my Facebook inbox. That really helped me get through the hardest time of my life. And so I know what a positive word can do to change your day, turn your day around. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with Just Win Today. And then, of course, being an educator myself, a lot of my friends that I've taught with and people that I've coached with and against, former players, they like the stuff that I put out there. So it's kind of grown, but we want to make it about more than just basketball. And like I was telling my brother Toby, we've got one coach at our school, but we've got about 25 teachers. So there's other people that need to hear this, but we need to provide a platform for teachers to share ideas. And so tomorrow is actually our first day where our teachers come back to school. And, I'm sitting here thinking about, I'm going to go in and give a little pep talk in the morning, and then I give my big talk the day after that, which is Wednesday. And I know those teachers are looking forward to coming back to work, but at the same time, you hate that your summer's over, because that means that we're about to all go back to the grind for the next, 9 months or so. This is the advice that I would give teachers, going into this year. If you're a fourth grade teacher that's out there right now, if you're a high school English teacher that's out there right now, no matter what grade level, what subject area that you're dealing with, I just want you to remember that you've got these kids for the next year, and this year is important to move them from where they're at right now to where they need to be. And again, take an example of a third grade student. If you do third grade right, you're only in third grade one time. And so, good, bad, or ugly, you need to try to do it the best you can. How do you do that? One day at a time. Try to be positive. We hear so many things now. Society's changed. More and more kids are living in broken homes. We've got kids that live in poverty. There are 1,000 excuses why a kid can't learn, or why a kid might be behind where you think he or she needs to be. But what I used to always tell my teachers when I was a principal, and now that I'm a superintendent, I say the same thing. From 8 to 3 o'clock, like if you think about just a standard school day of being 8 to 3 o'clock, that time we have to own that time. That's our time. During 8 to 3 o'clock, we don't pay attention to any of those excuses, because some of those may be real. There are kids that come from a tougher situation than others, but you can't change that, and you can't fix that. You can't control it. What you can control is from 8 to 3 o'clock, how you treat those kids. It takes no talent whatsoever to be positive. It takes no talent whatsoever to be in a good mood. It takes no talent whatsoever to, just come in and be nice. And, of course, when you're teaching, sometimes you do have to be stern, and sometimes you have to be strict. And of course, that's part of teaching also, is to correct people. But in general, love those kids. You've got those kids for a year. Be positive. Get them excited about learning. And I'm a basketball coach, so I'll kind of bring this back full circle. My opinion, the greatest basketball player that's ever lived is Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan hosts a father and son camp every summer, where a father and son goes to Michael Jordan's camp and they go through it together. So it's kind of a bonding experience for that dad and his son. And one father, one summer, he asked Michael Jordan this question. What should I be working with my son on? What kind of drills would you recommend? Because they're talking to Michael Jordan. After all, he's the greatest player that's ever lived. So, he's kind of like, come on, Michael, give me advice on how to make my son, a great player like you. Michael Jordan gave this dad this advice that I think is profound. He said, just teach him to love the game. Like, make the game fun for him so that he loves the game. And if you do that, if you make it fun, then he'll go practice on his own. He'll want to play on his own. And if he does that, goes and puts his own time in because it's what he wants to do, then if he has, the talent, then he's going to, of course, be a really, really good player. And if he doesn't have the talent, then at least he's going to have fun, and he's probably going to be as good as he could have been with you pushing him anyway. So, if that advice about how to be good at basketball coming from the best player that's ever lived, then what advice would you give yourself as you're about to train a group of kids for a year, which is basically what you're doing? Try to make learning as fun as you can. Try to make learning as exciting as you can, because you own from 8 to 3. But when you're not around those kids for the rest of the day, when they're back in that environment where you can't control, if you've made learning fun and exciting for those kids, then they may go do more learning on their own. They might read a book on their own. They may be interested in science or things like that on their own. So that's my advice to you as we go into the next school year. Is school is a long year, a lot of hours, a lot of days. Teachers don't make enough money. They're very underappreciated, but your job is so important. So we're looking for good guests to come on this show. We're looking for people that would like to maybe contribute ideas to other teachers. Maybe you have an experience that other people could draw on. Maybe you've got a story that would inspire people. Maybe you've had an experience with a student, and you don't have to say any names, but maybe you can tell a story about a way that you dealt with a kid that might inspire somebody else who's in a similar situation. So, the world is a better place when we share good ideas. And so that's kind of what this whole thing is all about. And thank you guys for listening as I rambled on here. Hope everybody has a great school year. And thank you for tuning in. And inbox me with any ideas, suggestions, or hopefully we'll have other teachers that want to come on and be a guest. JWT.